Hello, friends of the VisionCrypto channel. My name is Arian, and on my channel it's definitely all about crypto and chart analysis and explained as simply as possible. Today there's no XXL analysis, but rather an XL analysis. That's because I will be regularly analyzing more coins and projects in the future. This now also includes SUI, for example. You can now also book that in the chart analysis on Patreon. I will also analyze GLQ. Then we have CKB, which I already covered last week. And there will be one or two more coins coming in the future, which I will include in this analysis. That's why I've streamlined the whole thing a bit, that the videos aren't too long either. Today, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin together. Then we have Cardano, Polkadot, Chainlink, XRP, and VeChain. As a little treat, I will do it this way, that I will also go into the short-term analysis of Polkadot because it definitely interests a lot of people. And then you can also see what my short-term analyses look like, that you can also book if you want to. We want to start, as mentioned, with Bitcoin because for many, the chart will be very much influenced by it. How Bitcoin will behave in the near future. Let's take a look at it this way. So far, we've confidently handled our bull warning. A picture-perfect rise. I don't want to go into the lower wave counts any further today because I've mentioned that repeatedly in the last videos, and at some point it will probably get boring. Currently, it looks like this for Bitcoin. Let's just take this last piece here for now. Since our extended sideways phase, which came to an end in August last year, we are now in a wave 1, 2, 3, and 4 have moved up. That means we just need a rise into wave 5 now. And then the current cycle should be over. This means that a stronger correction is coming. The question that arises, because we have already entered the price box of wave 4 here, it ranges between $91,300 but also down to $75,500. It can go down. No, that doesn't mean that will happen. That's just the price target of a wave 4. The question is if this slight dip into the target zone is already enough, and Bitcoin is now moving further up, or if it's just a wave B. And we might dive even deeper here into the price zone of wave 4 and then transition into the final sprint. My point is we have to say that first, when we reach up here in this price box, a cycle comes to an end. Was this already the bull run, or are we just seeing a recovery phase over the summer? And then the rally continues. That's still up in the air. We'll have to wait and see. Like how this sell-off will happen, how it all unfolds. And then you can say a bit more. It's important to know, I've noted that down here as well, compared to the last video that measured against the current rise, assuming we've already completed wave 4 here, a price target for ICE wave 5 would be around 117,500, and at its peak, it's possible to reach nearly $140,000. Take a look at the target box up here, because if it turns out that Bitcoin gets sold off further, then these price targets will also shift downwards. Let's assume that one would revisit the ideal target of wave 4 at $82,200. It doesn't have to happen either, just as a numbers game. Then it would be that we have a price targets for wave 5 would be between $108,000 and $128,800. Currently, let's leave that up here, because that's the lowest point that Bitcoin has shown us so far. And will it drop down again? That's still up in the air right now. If anyone wants to know more about it, they can book my analysis. I will be providing a written update 3 times a week, including this chart. Then also on a smaller time frame to analyze together where the journey could lead and which price targets and trend reversal areas are important to determine how the price will develop is Now next, let's move on to Cardano. With Cardano, it's like this, as I've mentioned in many videos before, that there are three areas how the price can still develop. A critical area, we're currently in the yellow count, if we can't manage to break free from this trend box. And right now it looks more like we can break free, because this sideways movement that you can see here looks more like a wave 4 to me. Instead of a sell-off, the one that comes is usually much more dynamic. For example, here I could mention many more examples. So as I said, for me, that's more like a wave. It definitely feels more like this correction here, for example, before the next rise comes. And then we might be here, reaching the price target of wave 3, but maybe it will go even higher and we'll soon reach the wave C, which could also be a peak for the current cycle, or it's just the wave for now. 3, there's still a wave 4 and then a wave 5 after that. Right now it looks like this, as I said, seems more like a wave 4, and we have lightly touched wave 4 with the first one there. And there the question arises, as it does with pretty much all coins, shall we dive back into the wave 4? Or is there now going to be a direct further increase into the wave? Psych, up here. Basically, you can also say that if we draw a trend channel here, that we can also see here, that's roughly drawn in again, a trend channel that is approached from below, usually exits to 70%, also the trend channel upwards. That also suggests to me that there will be another increase. And this yellow counting is more or less just a performer on the chart in case the price decides to take the unlikely path and says, no, he actually wants to sell off. But if you had to bet or rely on what is more likely, then that means we are seeing another increase here. Then we come to Polkadot. That's how I actually say it in every video. Here is our problem child. Because since our first upward impulse that we had in March 2024 at a price of just under $12 here into a wave, B have moved downwards, and the likelihood keeps increasing that there will actually be a strong sell-off with Polkadot, because this trend reversal area, should we definitely break out upwards here to continue believing in the bullish count, and that would theoretically be in the white count. Here is a wave 4, but you can already see that we have already dropped below the price target of a wave 4. And if I add the next Fibonacci level to it, then we've even dropped down to the 0.6 Fibonacci level. And that's really true, extremely low for a wave. So I tend to think that this whole thing here is the yellow count and that we're going to get a sell-off. In my opinion, there's still a chance that we might see bullish numbers up here after all. But that's more because I'm also significantly invested in Polkadot myself, so it's a special case. I just want to show you this. But the likelihood of that happening is really very low. This is the case when let's take a look at this down here. You have to say that this wave, B here, regardless of whether it's in the smaller or larger time frame, was formed here. Because that's basically the candle that has dropped the furthest down. This is practically the lowest point in terms of rules, and therefore you set the wave here. Since those are just wicks, that's not a candle, that's just a wick. This whole thing here is just a wick that goes down this far. It's quite possible that only the market short positions have been closed and liquidated here. And the regular low is down here, because it has always dropped nicely downwards. And then we really found a nice conclusion there. While this, as I said, is just that wick, and now it could already be possible that the true wave B would be here, and then the counting would be different. Then it would be like this, that here is the start of wave 1, and we are building out wave 1 here. So we are moving down into wave 2. Then we also come back to this Fibonacci level and add the 0.6 level again, because that's exactly it there. That's just the target for a wave 2. And here it seems the price is also turning. And from here, it's now going up into the next wave movement. And if we apply the Fibonacci tool again from wave 1 to wave 2, then we have to say that it overlaps quite a bit. Very good. And that is, as I said, a last hope that the price might still turn bullish. But yeah, I wouldn't say that this is my favorite wave count. But should we really sell off further now? Here with Polkadot, that would be more of a sign for me that the number is actually more or less done. But I still wanted to tell you that because there are also many who think so, let's send up another prayer that it all plays out differently. Exactly. The short-term time frame for Polkadot looks like this. We're going to dive into this specific area down here just for orientation. We're practically up here for this target of the bearish wave 2. That's this yellow box where we've been moving further down. And this movement down here is in 3 parts of a wave. And in a wave C. And the all-important question that arises, is this low down here, the bottom now? Or is there going to be another pullback? That's why I put a question mark there. Because it's absolutely not certain at the moment. Whether the price will drop further is what we can take a look at now. If I make this whole thing a bit bigger, since our low point, we are currently building 3 waves straight ahead. So wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3. If this 3-part movement should hold, then the probability is high that there will be another sell-off. I mentioned that this morning to those who booked Polkadot, so I communicated, but if we manage to successfully build 5 waves, that means we would need to move up to here. That means roughly at $649. The price should move up to that point now. And if we can get a wave 4 in up there and a wave 5, then it would be a first sign that the bottom down here might finally have been found. But if we only stay with this 3-part movement and start selling off now, then that would be a wave AB and a wave C. And then we have to expect another low. And then the question is whether this down here is really still a wave 4, or if we need to completely change the counting. As I said, for those who want more detailed information on all the charts about what to pay attention to, where are the price levels where one can say, if we move above that, then it's all bullish. If we don't reach it, then it's all considered bearish. Anyone can book my analyses if they want. It costs 5 euros a month, and it can be cancelled monthly. My philosophy is that many offer analyses where you have to buy a whole package with, I don't know, 10 coins, and that is relatively expensive per month. But often it's the case that you don't really need many of the coins in that package, but only a few coins from it. And you get that from me 3 times a week in a written update, including the chart image on the 4-hour chart, where everything is explained in detail. To stay up to date, feel free to check it out in the video description below. You'll find a link there. So take a look. Whether that's what you're looking for, then let's move on to Chainlink. With Chain, we also have the situation where there are 3 scenarios. The orange would be quite bearish again with another sell-off. Right now, I also assume that this whole thing is about a wave 4 and that we will move further up. And that would be the next price target, $38. However, if the price manages to break through and enter the yellow count, then we would have a price target of around 68 to 72 US dollars. Then the peak of the cycle should also be reached, while at 38 US dollar, the probability is quite high that we would then have another wave 4 and another wave 5. That means we would then have a price target of over 90 US dollars. Next, let's move on to XRP. Right now, it's definitely the standout performer. For a long time, it looked like that, as if XRP is going to be sold off again. And we can pretty much forget about the price. But it has developed completely in the opposite direction. I'm glad I didn't sell. I can only always tell you that too, no matter who tells you what. And you can see that some big analysts who do this for a living can also get it wrong sometimes. That just happens. Make your own thoughts, do your research, and don't rely blindly on analysis, because someone can always get it wrong. And then it's easy, of course, maybe to say, yeah, he's to blame. He said, no, it's your money. That means you're sitting on your profits right now and enjoying it, but the losses you incur, you make them, not someone else. I or anyone else shouldn't rely blindly on someone, but rather gather diverse information to be able to make a decision. Whatever one wants. In any case, with XRP, we've built out a wave 1 and 2 here. We've moved up here into a wave 3. There was the risk that it would remain a 3-part movement and the price would drop down again. That didn't happen, and now we're continuing to move up. And it was briefly just before a new all-time high, which is at 354. We were initially rejected, and now we're moving up. And the price target for a wave 5, if we break the all-time high, I can well imagine that it will also unleash a certain dynamic. Is around, at the lower edge it's 427, and at the upper edge it's 676. $676. And I also have to say, of course, XRP can still see very strong gains in the future. But please try to approach this with a bit of humility for those who are XRP maximalists. The price has risen so steeply and quietly. That means there will also be a correction. It will. And a lot of people are going to kick themselves when they hope for prices of 20, 30, or 50 US dollars, and the price drops down again. And we might just be back at $1, $1.50. That would be extremely annoying. That's why it's important to approach this carefully, and no one has ever died from taking profits. But on the hope of getting rich, what doesn't a kick that has already made many people despair? Next, let's move on to VeChain. With VeChain, we also have the situation that we find ourselves in a target area here for a bearish wave 3, which could come. And it would also be important for VeChain to break through upwards and for us to move higher regarding wave number 3. We would be at around $19. If it doesn't manage to break through here, the probability is high that it sells off again. That would be a price of 9 cents. And it's similar to Polkadot. I'll just touch on that briefly again. Here too, we have only formed a wick down here. This means that the probability could be that liquidity was just fished out here, and only then this wave B is, or rather wave 2, and we are currently in a larger one. Expand wave 1, correct into wave 2, and then only move into wave 3, up here, because that would fit much better with the Fibonacci levels. 3, come in, because that would fit much better with the Fibonacci levels to move up here. For now, I'll leave the count like this, because that's actually the regular count. Let's take a quick look in here. If this is wave 2 and we have wave 3 here, right now we are in a very good position in the trend reversal area from wave 4 to wave 5. That would basically fit, and if it is indeed this other count that I just talked about, then we could add another level. That means there would still be room up to 3.2 US dollars before the price rises again. I can only tell you to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on videos like this. These Excel analyses are available every weekend on the higher time frame. If you want to know more, you should. But as I said, book my analysis. You get an update 3 times a week, and then also in the smaller time frame to see more clearly where the journey could lead. One tip from me on the side. I keep saying this in the videos, but today I want to mention it again briefly. And to mention that, With the MyCA regulation, it's really the case that many EU-regulated exchanges are experiencing significant cuts by not being able to stake certain coins anymore or not being able to buy and sell them at all. And if you're looking for a top exchange, not some newcomer, there are a lot of offers from exchanges that are just coming onto the market, or the ones that no one knows. Then I recommend you CoinEx. It's not very well known here in Germany either. That's because they mainly operate in the Asian market. But now in Germany, they also want to establish themselves more and more. And the advantage is that this exchange has been on the market for 7 years now. That might not sound like much now, but Binance, which operates worldwide and not just in the Asian market, has only been around for 8 years. What I want to get at, CoinEx has been around for 7 years, so almost as long as Binance, and that's a mark of quality when an exchange lasts that long. There are others that have gone bankrupt a long time ago. I can only recommend it to you. Check it out down in the video description. There's a link for that. Anyone who signs up through my link gets $10 cashback. That means the first $10 in trading fees will be refunded to you. For new registrations, there's also up to $100 starting bonus on top. The advantage is that you don't have to identify yourself extensively or submit any documents. No, you just need an email address and a password and you're in. And transferring in with euros is no problem at all. That works within half an hour. Do you have money on there and can you start trading right away? So really a good tip from me. Take a look at that. I hope there were some exciting pieces of information for you in today's video. If that's the case, feel free to leave a thumbs up on the video. Leave me a short comment or maybe just a little smiley. That would push the algo and be good for the channel. And I want to point out that there's another exciting chart analysis waiting for you in the credits. I wish you all a great time. Until the next video, and bye.